Hey guys, how you doing? This is Andrew Sims with the Sims Consulting Group. And on this Wisdom Wednesday, I want to talk to you about something special, something I've been noticing in social media and across the board, man. And the title of this Wisdom Wednesday is The Journey is Just as Important as the Destination. Where did I come up with this concept, or why am I talking about, not come up with the concept, but why am I talking about this? Um, I've been noticing lately a lot of different social media posts honoring certain people for their success or their road to success or their success story, right? And what is kind of disturbing to me is we kind of negate the way they went about becoming successful. Um, I want to say this the correct way, right? There are things that happen to us throughout the course of life that make us take certain roads and do things that we may not, do otherwise if we weren't placed in these positions, in these situations, in these communities, right? But I think we miss the mark when we begin to honor certain people because of their outcomes, meaning that they have the money, they have quote unquote prestige, they have the limelight, but we don't necessarily really extrapolate that story and see how they actually became successful. And that's part of the reason why I'm talking about what I'm talking about tonight, because I'm specifically talking about the journey is just as important as the destination. And the first point I want to make is the ends always, I got notes here, the ends don't always justify the means. Just because there's a way to make money, become successful, right? Um, put your family in a better position, move yourself to a better community, right? Or whatever it is, drive a nice car, whatever your end goal is, right? It's just as important how you get to that destination as it is the fact that you are going to get to that destination, if you understand what I'm saying. For instance, there's one particular person in mind, I'm not going to say any names, but this person became a very successful person, right? After really being a detriment to the community, the business community, the neighborhood, the people that are around them, right? They were pretty detrimental to their environment by which they pulled their resources in order to become successful, right? And this person is now being glorified as not necessarily a role model. I don't want to say that, but it's almost like, hey man, look at the end, look at what they accomplished, right? And it sends the message that it doesn't matter how you actually go about becoming successful. The goal is to just become successful. um there was an album cover, and you probably could figure it out, called Get Rich or Die Trying. Now some of that I do understand, right? You got to be willing to really go hard and really risk certain things in order to become successful. But the moral of that entire story is you don't have to do. Let me say this correctly. As you're building your success, make sure you build it the right way. Make sure you are able to be just as comfortable with your results as the process you went to go about to get those results. And that brings me into point two. Legacy is built during the journey. What do I mean by that? The real people that really analyze your story, if you want to get to you want to write a book, or you want a movie or whatever, right? Let's say your life becomes a book or a movie. Well, there's not a born and then a success. That's not the way the story goes. There's a middle part, and the legacy is really determined during that middle part between you starting the journey and you actually ending up at the destination point, right? And that's where your legacy is built. So whether you're ethical or not, whether you're moral or not, whether you do righteous things or you do evil things, or whether you'll step on anybody, whether you'll hurt anybody, whether you'll destroy people around you in order to make yourself successful, that's part of who you are. That's part of your legacy. It's not just the fact that you made some money, but we're also concerned, and I want you to also be concerned as you start to build your success story. Legacy is being built during those stages, right? When you have the opportunity to shortcut the process, you don't, right? That's part of your legacy, or you do, and that's part of your legacy, right? I'm saying you shouldn't. When you have the ability to shortchange a specific business partner or somebody that you came into agreement with, or as part of your team, and you're able to kind of short them a little bit, but you can use that money to jump into this other idea. Do you? Because that's a part of your legacy now. Now you don't honor your contracts. All of these things are important. So the legacy is built during the journey. Now, the third point, let what you say match what I see and what I don't see. What do I mean by that? If you tell me you're an ethical business person, you should be ethical in the things that I can see, and you should be ethical in the things that I don't see. That's part of who you really are, right? Who are you when people are not looking? Who are you when you have the opportunity to take advantage of a person that doesn't have a voice? Who are you then? Do you take that opportunity? Do you when nobody's looking, do you put a little extra in your pocket? Do you shortcut quality? Do you shortcut process? Do you shortcut safety protocols? Do you put people in harm's way? Are you willing to, like I said, I keep going back to these points because some of the heroes we have today, there used to be an old saying, man, I went through it so you don't have to go through it. And that's a funny statement because you didn't have to go through it either. There were other ways. You may not have been as astronomically successful as you are. Maybe you have been, reasonably successful, but you didn't have to do those things. Don't make it seem like there was only one way to success because there's not. We have to make conscious decisions to do the right thing because the more opportunity you get, the more success you get, the more opportunity there is to go the wrong direction, if you will. And you got to be strong as a person, as a business owner, father, a person at church, specifically in these times, to be who you say you are, both when people are looking and when people are not looking. Because it's really important when people are not looking, because that's really between you and God, if you believe in God, right? Or that's really about you and your word. Are you man or woman enough to stand by your word even when you don't think you can get caught? Those are the qualifications to really climbing higher in life. So point three is let what you say match what I see and also what I don't see. What do I mean when what you say? If you say, because again, the journey is just as important as the destination. If you say you're going to be supportive in a role, right? Let's say great example. Let's say you work for you're an analyst and you work for a project manager, and you're in a meeting. You went over some numbers, and now you're in a meeting with your project manager and their boss, right? And you have an opportunity to really make your project manager look bad and catapult yourself into that position. So, right, there's some information that you're privy to that maybe the project manager doesn't really understand, and you could really shine, man. And in you shining, you have the ability to make your project manager, like I said, look bad and really and catapult yourself into that position. What do? When you first signed up, you said, I'm going to support the project manager. And part of that is being the eyes for the project manager and uncovering things that they may not see. Because you're the analyst, you're knee deep into the numbers. The project manager is really overseeing the project itself. There are multiple parts of that project, but you're really digging into certain details, right? Do you take that opportunity to help you to honor your word and help your project manager shine, I should say? So it matters. It matters depending on how they treat you, or does it matter what you initially said? And what I'm saying is don't be opportunistic. What I mean by that is be who you say you're going to be, and let the natural course of promotion take its formation. Don't be opportunistic. And I'm not saying that in a way that I don't want you to take advantage of good opportunities, but I mean opportunistic in a way where you're going to damage somebody else's credibility, or destroy another person's situation in order to catapult and promote yourself. Now there is competition in business, right? There is competition in business, and I believe that competition is fierce, and I'm okay with that. But competition needs to be acknowledged. I want to know we're in competition, right? It's almost like if you walk into a fight, don't sucker punch me, right? Man up. Let me know. Put your hands up. Give me a chance to put my hands up, right? If we both go into a ring, like the box, if we both go into a ring, we know what we're going in there to do. Don't let me think we're going into the ring to shadow box or something like that, and your mindset is to knock me out, and I'm putting on my equipment and you sneak me. No, if we're in competition, let's both acknowledge we're in competition and then we go at it. But don't be opportunistic to take advantage of a situation because you have a clear cut advantage to make another person look bad and make yourself look good. So, like I said, let what you say match what I see and what I don't see. Point number 4, have integrity and morals. That speaks for itself. The journey is just as important as the destination. The legacy is built during the journey. During that process of time, have integrity and morals. Integrity, mean what you say what you mean. Morals, right and upright conduct. I'm a believer, so there's really a structure that I have in which to go by. Outside of that, morality is really based on opinion for the most part, right? And what I'm saying to you is honor. When I'm talking about morality outside of the concept of being a believer, I'm a believer. We understand what we mean when we say morality. But if you're not in that family, then morality for you means just really do what you say you're going to do and be the person you said you were. Be the person you said you were. It goes back to that competition thing. If we're in competition, let's both acknowledge it so we can both compete. But don't compete behind my back and I think we're friends, but we're really in competition and I'm not adequately putting forth the necessary competitive effort because I don't really know. I thought we were friends. I didn't know we were in competition. Point number 5, build your house on brick and not sand. Let's go back to the original portion of the conversation. We were talking about who we glorify and the road in which they took to become successful. There is not a shadow of doubt in my mind that if you gain success the wrong way, it is very short lived. We talked about before that only 4% of businesses make it past the 10-year mark. Because a big part of what I want to bring to the conversation is building for increase, but also building for sustainability. How do you sustain an organization over the test of time? Because most people are not building it to sell, right? There, if you're talking about an IT, I know if you talk about Silicon Valley, most of those businesses are designed in a way to sell and then, connect or migrate into a major organization, a Google or whatever. They buy a lot of those little companies. But for the average small business mom and pop, you want that thing to grow so you can pass it on to your family, right? So build your house with brick and not sand. When you talk about how you go from start to success, you want to build it in a way that your kids are able to be catapulted by the right choices you've made, not hindered by the wrong choices you've made. Because I don't want to say the sins of the father come back to haunt the children, but the reputation of the father comes back to haunt the children. The reputation of the mother, the reputation of the forefather in business, the reputation of the CEO, the reputation of the organization. They come back to haunt the person that now has to take control or the reins of that organization and move it forward. So you want to make sure you build a quality reputation that'll enhance the people that are going to come behind you. And I have a scripture, and I'm out of here, man. But I want you to understand the importance of the journey is just as important as the destination. Matthew chapter 7, verses 24 through 27. The wise and the foolish builders. Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on the rock. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the wind blew against and beat against the house, yet it did not fall because it had its foundation on the rock. But everyone who hears these words of mine and does not put them into practice is like a foolish man whose house is built on the sand. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the wind blew and beat against the house, and its fall was great. Take your time. Shortcuts, when you're talking about vital portions, vital processes, character shortcuts do not equal long-term success. What you do to become successful is says more about you than you care to realize when you talk about bringing who you are and what you're producing and what you are to the marketplace. In this world, we are really comfortable with just saying Anything goes as long as we make a buck. Anything goes as long as we become successful. As long as I can feed my kids, it doesn't matter if I take food off of your kid's table, as long as I can feed mine. And I'm cautioning you against that mindset because it's very short-lived. It's very short-lived. But when you build your company, your organization, your family, your church, your sphere of influence, your network, when you build it the right way, it meshes it together, man. God can honor it. You can stand proud of it. And people alongside of you can be proud to be connected to you. And then you turn that into long-term success because you're a man or woman of your word and people can count on you. And when people can count on you, they go to you. And when they go to you, the financial rewards from going to you in a business setting is a long-term sustainable organization. I didn't want to go too far into that, but it's really important to me to make sure that we make heroes out of the people that are supposed to be heroes, and we're really cautious when it comes to who we put on those pedestals as far as who we honor, because we're sending a message to the generations behind us saying, as long as you get the money, it's okay, and that's not okay. I don't want to work with leaders like that. I don't want to be around people like that. I don't want to develop strategies with people like that. I want people who want to do things the right way. So once again, man, this is Andrew Sims with the Sims Consulting Group. Y'all be blessed. I believe in you. I know you're going to do it the right way. I know you're going to have long-term success, and I can't wait to see it, man. Peace.